Welcome to Resourcevol's Guide to Growing Your Volunteer Leader Team, Part 1. The aim of this guide is to give you, an existing volunteer leader, the knowledge and confidence needed to successfully grow your volunteer leader team, to help your non-profit organisation achieve its aims. The focus throughout this guide will be on growing your volunteer leader team from within your organisation's existing volunteer pool, as this tends to be more effective than approaching people outside your organisation. Existing volunteers are already committed to your organisation, understand how things work, and have the necessary experience to step up into a leader role. In this video, Part 1, we'll begin by taking a look at some key elements which set volunteer leader roles apart from standard volunteer roles, and what skills and personal qualities are useful for volunteer leaders. We'll also explore how to effectively sell a leader role. In the next video, Part 2, we'll learn about social style theory and how it can be used to successfully approach volunteers about becoming a leader. We'll also look at organising special events and shadowing opportunities, which allow for a gradual introduction to the volunteer leader role. In the final video, Part 3, we'll see how existing volunteer leaders can make sure they have a positive influence on potential new volunteer leaders, and how to remove or reduce some common barriers to becoming a leader. Although volunteer leader roles will differ from one organisation to another, they usually have some key elements in common which set them apart from a standard volunteer role. For example, a time commitment, such as a request from your organisation that you'll volunteer every week or every month instead of on an ad hoc basis, or that you'll commit to the role for a minimum time period, such as 6 months or a year. Extra responsibilities, such as prepping or planning volunteer sessions, ordering equipment, or submitting reports. Leading other volunteers, including delegating tasks, listening to feedback, providing support, and helping to induct or train new volunteers. Representing the organisation at internal or external events or in the media. Attending meetings outside normal volunteer sessions to discuss and resolve any issues and have a say in how the organisation is run. If a volunteer role includes 2 or more of these elements, it's likely to be considered a leader role. For a volunteer to be effective in a leader role, they usually need to have or develop a certain set of skills and personal qualities. Skills such as communication, teamwork, problem solving, leadership, and organisation are all very useful for volunteer leaders. When trying to grow your leader team, it's worth keeping an eye out for volunteers who display some or all of these skills during regular volunteer sessions. Personal qualities such as being dependable, positive, resourceful, approachable, and calm under pressure all tend to be very useful for volunteer leaders. Just as with skills, when trying to grow your leader team, keep an eye out for volunteers who display some or all of these personal qualities during regular volunteer sessions. Here you can see some examples of other skills and personal qualities that aren't necessarily essential, but would certainly be an advantage for these specific kinds of leader roles. Your organisation may have already identified some additional skills and personal qualities, like these, relating to your specific leader role. If not, you might find it useful to think about what skills and personal qualities you, personally, tend to rely on in your role, or ask other existing leaders in your organisation what they think is important. Remember to look out for these, as well as the more general skills and personal qualities previously highlighted, to help you identify volunteers who would do particularly well as leaders within your organisation. Once you've identified a volunteer, the next step is to approach them about becoming a leader. Although the word selling might seem out of place in the context of non-profits and volunteering, it's actually something we do every day, in all kinds of situations, often without even realising what we're doing. For example, when you tell a friend or family member about a book or film that you enjoyed recently, a new gadget you think is useful, or your favourite place to eat or drink. When you're selling a volunteer leader role, remember these 5 tips. There will always be positives and negatives to every situation. When talking about being a volunteer leader, remember to focus on the positives. You wouldn't be a leader if you didn't think the role was important and rewarding, so let your passion and enthusiasm shine through. Don't say that you love everything about the role, unless you really do, and don't pretend that it's easy if it isn't. Setting realistic expectations early on is important. You can be honest about the challenging parts of the role without being negative. Make it clear what the leader role involves, including what the induction and training process is like. Have answers ready for likely questions, and know where to send volunteers if they need more information. We're all more comfortable interacting with someone who has a similar social style to ourselves. You can communicate more effectively if you understand about different social styles and learn how to change your behaviour to match the person you're communicating with. We'll explore social styles in part 2 of this guide. The aim of this guide is to give you, an existing volunteer leader, the knowledge and confidence needed to successfully grow your volunteer leader team. In this video, part 1 of the guide, we've looked at some key elements which set volunteer leader roles apart from standard volunteer roles. Important general skills and personal qualities for all volunteer leaders, along with some more specific examples for certain kinds of leader roles. Top tips for effectively selling a leader role. Make sure to watch part 2 of this guide to learn about social styles theory. We'll also look at different events and shadowing opportunities. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. For bespoke resources and consultation services, please email hello@resourcevol.com.